Hey guys, it's Oberstadt, and in today's video, I'm going to be swatching the BH Cosmetics Cancer palette. This is from their mini Zodiac line. It should be their 7th palette. Let's see, 3, 6, yep, the 7th palette in their collection for these little mini Zodiac palettes. This is a 9-color shadow palette. It has a beautiful color story. It's absolutely stunning. I just did a first impression video and tried to do 2 looks with it, and needless to say, I was super frustrated. I ended up wiping one of my eyes off before I got this wet to do this video with a dry makeup wipe or makeup cloth. So as of right now, I'm like super frustrated by this palette. I've never had a BH palette act like this one, so I figured I might better understand this palette by doing a swatch video, and hopefully with doing double swatches they might show up. I'm not quite sure. I did get the 2 big palettes out to also do comparison swatches as well, but as of right now, from my experience with the multiple shimmers in here, BH doesn't have anything like this in any of their other palettes that I own, hands down. So let's go ahead and start with shade 1, shade 2, which I didn't use, and shade 3, which I did use. So we have shade 1, shade 2, and shade 3. And let me do double swatches. I'm not going to zoom this in like I normally would. I'm going to have to zoom this in via editing. I might zoom it in at the very end of this, but that shade is beautiful and it works super well. This shade here is what I used on my first look. Can you see it? Can you? No, me neither. That was the issue I was having. Alright. Shade 3 I also used. Shade 4 I didn't use, but shade 5 I used on my second look. See shade 5 on my finger? See how chunky it looks? When I tried to use this shadow on my eye, it laughed at me. This one I did use. I didn't get that amount of pigment from it when I first used it. Shade 5 and shade 6. It is a beautiful shade. But double swatch time. Shade 5 and 6 feel like the same formula. These shadows are super hard pressed into the pans, and this is like super chunky. That one's actually pretty. This one here is chunky and it's patchy. That was exactly what I had issues with it doing on my eye, was it was super, super patchy. So there's the first 6 shades. I think the shimmers in this palette are supposed to be topper shades. This one here looks like a black. Sylvia told me it's not a black. It looks like a black to me. So I did use this one on my second look. Looks black to me. This one I also used on the second look. It blends beautifully, and then the highlight. I now have black glittery stuff all over the counter. That's just lovely. This actually looks patchy. It didn't look patchy on my eye. So we're gonna pick up 7, turn that off, 8, and center. So here's all of the shades with the camera zoomed in. I'm surprised that brown looks patchy on my arm. It did not look patchy on my eye. So I used this shade in my first look. It is very sheer. It's a topper shade. The silver is also very sheer. It's also a toppery shade. This one here looks pretty on my skin, but it looked very sheer on my eye. This one here I didn't use on my eye. This one I used on my second eye. As you know, we come with 2 of those. It was super sheer, very patchy. Didn't want, like, if I ran a brush over it, it like took product from the tip of the bristles and like drugged the product as the brush moved, and the brush was wet. I also tried applying it with my finger and it was patchy. It was like the shadow was picking up where I was trying to place it down. It's like it was sticking back to my finger and away it got off my eyelid. This one here was super patchy. I got so mad I literally wiped my entire eye look off with this while it was still dry. This didn't look patchy on my eye at all. It blended beautifully. It just took quite a bit to get it to actually show up. I dipped a ferro brush in it, which is a synthetic brush, and I put it on and it didn't show up. So I dug in the pan and tried it again and tried and finally got it to show up. The highlighter is beautiful. It's also very sheer. I'm kind of like blown away by this palette. It's beautiful. I wish the product worked. Just to give you an example, Pisces palette. I'm working on 2 looks right now. This one here is the topper shade in this palette. That's one swatch and I blended it out. Let me pick the similar shade out of this one. Hello? Let me do that again. One finger swatch, 2, and this still looks patchy compared to this one. I don't know what they did formula-wise different. This one also up here is very kind of like a sheer formula. Let me pick up just another swatch of that. It's also going over the tendons on my hand. When I put these shades on my eyes, you can see them. Like, you can use a finger, you can use a wet brush, you can use a dry brush and get either of these to work. This looks like Glass Bowl from ColourPop. This one here, I used my finger, I used a wet brush, and it was patchy. It didn't want to work. It didn't want to go on the skin. It's just a sheen color. Like, compared to this palette here, hands down, is like a winner for me. The mattes blend easily, the shimmers are beautiful, even the toppery type shades work. This one here, I'm completely at a loss to what happened with this palette, why the shadows are so transparent, why they didn't want to work on my skin. When you pick them up with a brush, it's like they give you the middle finger. I honestly don't know what I could have done differently with this palette. Again, it was just a first impressions. This is literally the second time I've touched this palette since I unboxed it in my September Shop My Stash live stream. All right, guys, so I'm outside. The sun is over there. It's freaking bright. It's gonna be hard to see these colors because I'm in the direct sunlight. I will go in the shade here in just a second. Alright, now I'm in the shade. You can still barely see these 2 shades right here on my arm. A lot of these shades are like toppery shades. They don't show up very well. I don't know, guys. I'm really not happy with this palette. Like, very disappointed. This is a bummer for a BH palette. Alright, so here is the Cancer palette using the iPhone with the flash on to record. Now you can see those two shades right there. And you couldn't see them in the pictures, and you couldn't see it with the other camera. And they do look like they're beautiful shades. But you can see how, like, I don't know, some of these look really patchy on the skin. I think the camera's making them look better than they actually are, to be honest. Because on the eye, they look super patchy. I'm so disappointed with this palette. I'm going to have to continue to work with this to see if maybe putting like a cream base down underneath might help adhere it. Do I need to put a shadow down underneath the shimmers to get them to show up? Is this one of the things where I use this black shade in here that has shimmer, it has silver shimmer in it? You know, do I have to put this all over my eye first with a dry brush and like put another one of these shades over it? Is that how I'm going to have to use this palette? I'm going to have to play with this, so I will continue to, I'll record the multiple looks one palette with this and see different techniques that I can do to get this to work. So far, I am very disappointed in this palette. This was a gift to me. This was a birthday gift from Sylvia. She spent her hard-earned money to buy this for me for my birthday, and I am highly upset at how disappointing this palette is. I loved this palette color story out of all of them thus far. I really, really wanted it. It sold out before I could buy it. It was out of stock for like a month and a half. The day that it came back in stock, I messaged Sylvia to let her know, it's back, because I know she wanted it too, and she ordered the palette and got it in, and of course, because she's in Portugal, they held her package at customs, and so, like, I honestly don't know what to say other than, as of right now, this palette is a huge flop for me. It is beautiful. The colors that they picked are stunning, but I'm going to have to work with it to see if I can get it to work for me at all, because I'm just completely at a loss. So I'm sorry for such a bummer video, but I'm never going to mince my words on this channel. I'm always going to be honest and tell you how I feel about something, and right now I feel like crying and cussing and both. So I got so frustrated doing the eye look, I'm serious, I literally wiped the whole thing back off. And when I go outside to do video to show you what these look like in natural lighting before the sun sets, I will show you what my eye look looks like. You know, the one side is pretty and the other side I wiped off. So I'm Rebecca Oberstadt. I'm sorry for this to be such a down video. I love BH shadows, do not get me wrong. The majority of my collection is BH shadows, and I will continue to support the brand and buy their products. But this palette was a huge letdown for me. So hopefully you guys have a better day than I'm having, and I will see you in tomorrow's video. Have a great day or night wherever you are. Bye.